You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Who is Jaquan Carlos and what does he bring to Syracuse? So, first off, I didn't even know that Jaquan Carlos had visited. Didn't know. If you recall, when I was giving transfer portal updates, I would bring up his name and I would say, yeah, this seems like a good pickup. And I know Syracuse has reached out to him. But there was nothing online that I could tell or that I could see that said he had visited or he was in the area or anything like that. So it's not that this came out of nowhere or that this was some sort of surprise. But hey, I was happy to see the news that Jaquan Carlos is now a member of Syracuse. So, Jaquan Carlos is a 6-foot senior from Hofstra. He averaged 10 points and 6 assists per game last season. That led his conference, and he is a 2-time all-conference defender. He can pass, and he can defend. Pretty good, right? I'll take that combination. And he also has a little bit of a shot to him. 34% from 3 last year, which is not, otherworldly. It's not Kobe Bryant 50%. But Jaquan Carlos, 34% from the 3-point line. I know that it's a tougher conference, the ACC, but the 3-point line, it doesn't move, right? It's the same 3-point line. So even if it goes down a hair, he's a respectable 3-point shooter. Now, in terms of where he ranks in the transfer portal, I mentioned that he is a 4-star recruit. There is a tiny bit of discrepancy in his ranking. 24/7 Sports is highest on him. They have him at 169 overall. On3 has him at 233 overall, so they're lower on Carlos, but still a 4-star no matter where you look. This is a solid addition. What does he bring? He brings experience. Syracuse last year had one player in its rotation that was listed as an upperclassman. Can you guess who that player was? I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right, well, if you guessed Benny Williams, you would be correct. Benny Williams was the lone player on the Syracuse roster last year that was listed as a junior or above. And it is Benny Williams. Put that in perspective for a second here. This was a team mostly made of young kids. Now you bring in a seasoned veteran like Jaquan Carlos, adding experience. And if you look at the roster right now for this team that they have assembled, JJ Starling, upperclassman. Chris Bell, upperclassman. Obviously, Jaquan Carlos, an upperclassman. Eddie Lampkin, an upperclassman. Jair Davis. Naheem McLeod. McLeod was kind of a gray area. He was listed as a sophomore, even though I believe it was like his 4th year in college. He was listed as a sophomore last year. Kyle Cuffe and Chance Westry. We'll see how Syracuse classifies them for next season. I'd imagine they're going to be juniors on that. But regardless, that's a lot of juniors and above on this roster now. And Carlos only adds that. He only adds to it. They needed experience. They've gotten experience. We've all been there, either as a player or a fan. It's halftime and the scoreboard is not looking good. You're feeling low, not sure you or your team can pull out a win. That's when you dig deep, lift your head up, and say to yourself, time to get back in the game, pull off some bank heists, and take as much of my friends' money as I possibly can. That's right, the smash hit mobile game Monopoly Go lets you compete with your friends to get the most riches and the biggest empire. It's the Monopoly you love, but on your phone, anytime, with tons of new twists, including leaderboards to compare your progress to your buddies. There's so much to do. Play on countless dynamic Monopoly boards. Make your friends bankrupt by smashing their landmarks with a wrecking ball. Charge other players rent for your iconic properties. You can even work with your friends to crack open community chests and in tournaments to get extra rewards and climb the leaderboard. So get back out there, put on your game face, and download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or Google Play. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors does everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. They also get a true floor general in Jaquan Carlos. Syracuse didn't have it last year with Judah Mintz. I love Judah Mintz. But he was not a true point guard, so to speak. This isn't a knock on him, just more of a combo. Jaquan Carlos, true point guard. Joe Girard wasn't a true point guard. Kadari Richmond wasn't a true point guard, just going back. The last one that really was a true point guard was Tyler Ennis. Now, Carlos is not as good as Tyler Ennis. I'm not saying that, but that's just kind of the perspective here. And I was doing some research, and Jaquan Carlos had a 19 assists game last year. It was on February 17th, 2024 against Northeastern, where he had 19 assists in one game. He's not going to average 19 assists. He's probably not going to average more than 6 in the ACC next year. But that is just some perspective for you on what he brings as a floor general. This is a great distributor who has a low turnover rate, who can shoot the ball a little bit as well. 34% from 3, 89% free throw shooter last season. Free throws matter, of course. And finally, defense. Defense. Two-time all-conference defender. And I get it. He played at Hofstra. He played in the CAA. But being a two-time all-conference defender is not nothing. I'm not saying he's going to come into next season and be the defensive player of the year in the ACC. I'm not going to overreact to it. I'm not overreacting to this addition. I'm just telling you what he brings as a player. He is a very, very good defender and something that Syracuse kind of needed. When you look at their roster, yeah, they're bringing in guys who can score, but Eddie Lampkin, he was another transfer not known for his defense. Jair Davis, good scorer, can create his own shot, but if you're looking at him versus Malik Brown is a far better defender than Jair Davis. Chris Bell, I've talked about him, that he is not the greatest defender in the world. JJ Starling is hit or miss on the defensive end. They needed someone. They needed someone who can really play defense, and Jaquan Carlos can do just that. So in summary, here's what Jaquan Carlos brings. He brings experience. He is a true floor general. He can bring a little bit of shooting to this team, and he can defend on the perimeter. Jaquan Carlos is a solid addition to the transfer portal class. Not elite by any means, but a very solid pickup. Thank you for watching this edition of Segment of the Week. To catch the podcast this segment came from, click here. To subscribe to the channel, click here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone.